The NBA is coming back, and that means there are going to be more videos on the NBA from us here at Chat Sports. So to make sure you don't miss out on any of them, hit that big red button and subscribe today. And coming up next, the latest NBA rumors and news. We're going to begin with the Brooklyn Nets. They, of course, are going to travel down to Orlando for the NBA restart. But Wilson Chandler will not be joining the team. He has announced that he's not going to travel down to Orlando with Brooklyn, excuse me. Now, the Nets right now, they're 7th in the East. They're 6 games ahead of the Wizards. So they're going to make the playoffs in all likelihood. And then probably won't end up doing very much because, there's no Kevin Durant and there's no Kyrie Irving. Chandler is not the biggest loss for this organization. He was not playing out of his mind by any means, but some nice veteran depth on that roster. They'll replace Chandler. The Nets have announced, at least Woj has, they're going to sign Justin Anderson. Now, here's what Chandler had to say about his decision to not travel down to Orlando. As difficult as it will be to not be with my teammates, the health and well-being of my family has to come first. Thank you to the Nets organization for understanding and supporting me in this decision, and I will be watching and rooting for our team in Orlando. So Chandler's not going to head down, much like Avery Bradley. He will not be playing for his organization. Not the only player to choose to opt out of the NBA's restart. Now we'll wait and see if anyone else chooses to take the same path. Let's head over now to some NBA free agency rumors, or at least some future NBA free agency rumors. Giannis to the Knicks. And my first thought was, yeah, right, good luck, Knicks. Now, the report is, and I think that was the same reaction that many of you guys had, is that the Knicks are interested in hiring Jason Kidd in their grand scheme to lure Giannis to New York in 2021 free agency. Now, Giannis did like playing under Jason Kidd in Milwaukee. That's accurate. Although things have been better for the Bucks and for Giannis since Kidd was fired, and I think Giannis is smart enough to realize, well, why would I want to go play for a coach who clearly didn't get the most out of me? Now, Giannis himself is a better player, but things have been better under Mike Budenholzer a lot more than things were for Kidd. Now, the Knicks have cast a pretty wide net in this coaching search. Tom Thibodeau, Kenny Atkinson, 2 moves I wouldn't mind in terms of the hires. Jason Kidd, the current Lakers assistant. Mike Brown, another retread. And then also Mike Woodson, because time is a flat circle, and somehow Woodson is once again in contention to be a Knicks head coach. Now, Kidd's coaching career, it started pretty well with the Nets, 44-38. Then he jumped over to the Bucks and was around 500 the first 3 years. Then in the middle of year 4, the Bucks were like, this is not working. We got to move on from Kidd. And Giannis has since emerged as, if not the best young player in the NBA, well, at least one of the best young players in the NBA. So no real surprise on that front that Giannis has become, well, the first name only needed player that we all know and love here around the NBA. I'm very curious to see how things all continue to go down for Giannis and for the Bucks. I am not convinced he's going to leave. I know many out there are. So with that in mind, I want you guys to cast some votes here. Where do you think Giannis will sign in 2021? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. I think the Bucks are still the favorite. The Knicks, the Heat, and pretty much every team who wants to compete in the NBA have been linked in some capacity to Giannis. Cast your votes for me down there in the comments section. Move on to another young player due for a new contract. That is Jayson Tatum. Now, it's not a surprise. This is kind of like a duh. Well, the Celtics are going to offer Jayson Tatum a max contract extension once he's eligible this, well, I guess it's still summer technically, whatever, this upcoming year, I guess we should properly call it here, less so summer. Regardless, this upcoming end of season stretch for the NBA, because things are weird now. Now, initially Tatum was like, yeah, I'm going to take the offer. He's now kind of considering that because, well, COVID-19 is going to have an impact on that because in theory, well, not in theory, there's going to be less revenue coming in for the NBA. And in theory, that would lead to at least a lower or maybe even not a, or at least not a as high of salary cap as everyone was anticipating. So Tatum now has to go, well, do I take the money now knowing it's going to be a little bit less, or do I try and bet on myself and bet on everything and try and wait longer to take that max contract offer. It's a tricky proposition for Tatum. He's leaning towards accepting, but what do you guys think he should do? Should he wait or should he sign? Type S for sign that extension, get the bag now, or type W, wait, gamble a little bit more, and see if you can't earn a little bit of extra money by waiting. Now, speaking of the COVID-19 impact, wearing masks, please continue to do this because I want sports to come back and also stay back. I don't want the NBA to get started and then shut down after like 2 weeks. That's a disaster scenario. So if you haven't already, guys, and you want to rep your team while staying safe, go buy some NBA-themed face masks. Chatsports.com/NBA mask. That link's in the comments and it's in the description. They've got solo and 2-pack, 3-pack, 4-packs as well. Are only $30. It's a great deal, and you can stay safe while rocking the colors and logos of your favorite NBA team. Links in the comments and the description. Chatsports.com/NBA mask. Over now to Andre Drummond. Is he going to get an extension? Now, Drummond has already said he's going to opt into his contract for this upcoming season, that he's going to remain under contract with the Cavs. Next year, going to take his big fat paycheck. Kind of a no-brainer, right? The report out of the Cleveland Plain Dealer, though, is that both sides actually have interest in a long-term deal, which is interesting to me because I'm not sure that's actually in the Cavs' best interest. Now, Drummond still continues to be, well, for the most part, Andre Drummond. His numbers for the Cavs in this limited sample size were pretty consistent with his career averages, especially if you ignore that first year where, for pretty much all players, the numbers kind of get pulled down a little bit. But the Cavs are clearly rebuilding. What happens if they take James Wiseman in the first round? A possible outcome. Should they be extending a long-term contract offer to a player who, although is good, might not fit their typical rebuilding time frame? I'm not sure that'd be a great move for Cleveland, and I get why they'd want to extend him if they want to keep him around long-term, but is that the best path? I'm not sure. So I want you guys to help me out here. Figure out what actually is the best move for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Should they extend Andre Drummond? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Cast your votes for me. I'm very curious what you guys have to say. All right, the NBA, the restart schedule, it is out. All the games are set. We know who's going to play who. We'll break down some of the first 5 games away in just a second. It'll begin July 30th, and 22 of those 30 teams will be participating. Each team, as I'm sure you guys know by now, are going to play in 8 games before the playoffs. The seedings are set, and then they'll see what the playoffs look like. Hopefully, they'll play all the games and nothing ends up getting canceled or delayed. Now, the NBA, of course, published the initial batch, and perhaps unsurprisingly so, the first 2 games on July 30th, both on TNT, feature the superstars, right? Oh, look at that. Zion Williamson gets to play in the very first game back, Jazz versus the Pelicans. And then it's the Clippers versus the Lakers on July 30th. Gee, it's almost like the NBA was like, how can we get the biggest names available for our first night? Kind of makes some sense. Grizzlies, Blazers, Celtics, Bucks, and Rockets, Mavs round out the actually only July games. Then August comes and the rest of them will all happen. And we'll see what the playoffs end up looking like. As a reminder, guys, I told you about this at the very start of the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you want more NBA videos, the more subs we get from these NBA videos, the more we can do. So if you haven't already, guys, please, please, please hit that big red button and sub today. Speaking of a team in the playoffs, that's the 76ers. Tobias Harris was rather open and honest in his conversation with ESPN, saying, look, we know we underachieved and there were chemistry issues, which I think for some was taken as, oh, wow, that means Harris thinks the players didn't get along. I think Harris is, and he mentioned injuries as a factor, I think Harris means that with everyone hurt and banged up, they couldn't really get in any type of groove. And this is what Harris had to say. I'll keep it real. We haven't had the best chemistry throughout the whole year. It took us a while to kind of get everyone together. We battled injuries from start to the end. And Harris is right. This is a Sixers team that they just underachieved. They're 39-26 here before the NBA restart. They're 6th right now behind the Pacers due to tiebreakers in the Eastern Conference. They're not going to be able to catch the Bucks. They're not going to get that number 1 overall seed. Very slim chance they'd be able to catch a team like the Raptors or even the Celtics. But they could end up getting, maybe a 4 or 5 seed if things go well. And if they start to click in Orlando, I think they have the talent to at least make a run at the Eastern Conference Finals. So, everyone in the comments, predict for me. Who do you think ends up winning the East? Who will make it to the NBA championship? Is it the Bucks? Is it the Sixers? The Celtics? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. One last note here, and it's a fun one for me. Larry Sanders, once back in the NBA, which is somehow just classic, told TMZ he's looking to make his return to the NBA. He's 31 years old now, turns 32 later on in November. He's played 5 games back in 2016 and 17, and that was the last time we saw him around the NBA. He got that 4-year, I think it was $44 million deal, and then quickly regressed after. Now, here's what Sanders had to say. I think with things shifting a bit, and me still being young, I feel like I'm in the prime stage. I can definitely contribute. I would just love to contribute to a team and help them win and give my knowledge, give my defensive presence, and just be able to play basketball. That's ideal for me. That sounds like heaven. Not sure that's a very likely outcome here for Sanders, who I remember back in 2012, 2013, that dude was fun. He was not a scorer, but he was able to get points and get boards and blocks. Like, he was just a fun NBA player. Then he got paid and got hurt, and he quickly fizzled out in a way that I don't think many really saw coming. So I would not anticipate a Larry Sanders return to the NBA anytime soon, but it was an interesting note that I just had to include on today's video.